So here at Saikyo Sake, the leftovers from the sake brewing process is going to be sake kasu. This can be utilized for all different kinds of marinades and sauces. I'm going to use it today for Kasuzuke. It will end up being used for some fish, so I like to use saikyo miso. It's a smooth, rich flavored miso, a little bit sweeter. If you're going to be doing vegetables, quite often I'll use a little bit nuttier miso. But you can substitute any miso for this dish. So to start, we have 8 ounces of the sake kasu. There's going to be 6 ounces of the miso. And again, this one is a saikyo miso. Then we have 1/4 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of sake, and 1/2 cup of mirin. So I'll put all these in the blender because it'll get it nice and smooth. So make sure everything is in the bottom, and then we'll just quickly blend it. So here you have your Kasuzuke. So this is going to be some local salmon that we'll be doing as Kasuzuke marinade. So we have some already made from a video before. This is the sake kasu, the mirin, a little bit of sake, some sugar, and the saikyo miso. So for the fish, I like to use a little extra flavor from the zest of lime. So basically taking that base recipe and then modifying it a little bit for whatever you happen to be using. So just the zest of 1 lemon will give plenty of flavor. Just mix that up and let those flavors come out into the marinade. With the filet, always double check for the bones along the lateral line right here. And you may find some as you're cutting along as well. So this is the top side of the fish, and the kama would be right here, the head here. So basically we're going to take the knife from the angle that kama would be, turn it to the side to make the cuts, and bring the knife down at an angle to give you presentation for the skin of the fish. If you're not interested in eating the skin, you can just take the skin off completely and be good to go that way as well. So lay all of these fillets out. And then we'll be salting this to draw out some of the excess moisture so that the marinade will really soak into the fish. And these will be the testers. So just sprinkle a little bit of salt. And you'd want to take this and put it in the refrigerator for about 1.5 hours or 2 hours to let the salt do its work. And then we would pat it dry and place it into the marinade for a minimum of 3 days, up to 5, to get the optimal flavor. So now that the salmon has had some time to let the salt soak out the excess moisture, we're simply going to pat them dry and then pop them into a Ziploc bag with the marinade and then back into the fridge for those 3 to 5 days. So just gently pat these. And we'll put some of the marinade into the Ziploc. Make sure you have plenty so that you get the fish completely covered. And often I'll separate these into multiple Ziploc bags. So that way, at the end of the marination, you can use some, or you can then freeze these bags so you can just pull it from the freezer whenever you're ready to eat the rest of it. Because if you have a whole salmon, it might be a little bit to go through, and there is a bit of a process involved with this whole preparation time. So simply get all of the air out. Zip her up. Make sure everyone's coated, and then pop this into the fridge. So we've had the 3 days in the fridge for the fish to marinate. We're just gonna wipe this off. Some people will rinse it. I prefer to just wipe it off so it maintains a little bit more of that flavor. But if you leave too much on there, the miso and the sugars will burn, as opposed to getting that nice caramelized top to it. So I'll pop this into the pan. I'll use a little bit of foil. It makes things easier for cleanup. And then a little bit of sake. So this way, when it's roasting in the oven, it will be half steam, half broiled on the top. And that water keeps the marinade from burning. So basically, we'll pop this in the oven at about 450 for 6 to 8 minutes. So here we have the salmon after it's been in the oven for 6 to 8 minutes. If you need to get a little more caramelization on the top, you can move it to the broiler, which will help caramelize, focus that energy on the top of the fish, and still keeping it moist with the sake.